Hey there, if selling your business isn't the goal, it could be just the reward for building it the right way. And it could be a real win. A company that runs without you, throws off serious profit, and is attractive to buyers that are lined up with offers. In this episode of Profit with a Plan, we're breaking down the moves that make your business sale ready and wildly successful, whether you sell it or not. Hey, entrepreneurs, are you working too hard for too little profit? Well, welcome to Profit with a Plan podcast, where we help you scale smarter, increase profitability, and build a business that's worth more, whether you keep it or sell it. I'm Marcia, Riner, business growth strategist and the profit booster behind Infinite Profit. I've helped countless entrepreneurs to turn their business into highly profitable, sale-ready assets, so they enjoy more income now and a bigger payday later on. So join me for practical strategies and expert insights, as well as proven steps to make your business more profitable, more valuable, and built to last. Today's episode is sponsored by Infinite Profit, where we don't just talk profit, we deliver it. And before we dive in, I've got something special for you. And if you think in yourself, okay, I'm a business owner and I'm tired of overcomplicated, overpriced marketing strategies that just don't deliver up, well, listen up. What if there was a simple, affordable way to market your business that actually works? Well, the Profit Booster Marketing Hub gives you the templates, automation, tools to capture leads, nurture them, and close more sales without the tech headaches. Go see it in action at profitbooster.biz. All right, let's jump into today's episode. My guest today is Vince Perri. Vince is an exit strategy expert and a business broker who helps entrepreneurs build companies buyers want to compete to own. At Martha, he works with business owners on everything from figuring out what their company is worth to tightening operations to negotiating the best deal possible. And because Vince himself has built and sold businesses, he knows exactly what it takes to scale successfully and step into the next chapter with confidence. All right, welcome, Vince. Welcome to Profit with a Plan podcast. Happy to have you on today.
Thank you for having me, Marcia.
Great. Okay, so we are kindred souls, like all the way deep down to our toes, because we have similar backgrounds and similar directions that we're guiding our clients on. And I just love this topic. So listeners, you are in for a treat today to have the brain power of Vince and a little bit of sprinkling of me in here as well. So it's going to be a good show today. But let me ask you a question, Vince. How in the world did you get into business brokering and kind of leaning in on helping people get ready to sell?
Well, 16 years of entrepreneurship is definitely one of the main reasons. Another one of the main reasons is I actually came from an industry that I realized that wasn't doing so well, and I thought it was the right time to actually make a switch. I think it's very important for the visionaries, the CEOs, the entrepreneurs, that if you are going to lead a team, you have to have the ability and the confidence to see into the future and see the writing on the wall. And that's basically the reason why I became a business broker, was really because I realized in the middle of last year, and actually early last year, that the industry that I was in, the insurance industry, just didn't really, it just wasn't, I just didn't see where what I kept seeing it just go in the wrong direction. I hadn't heard any good news for a very, very long time. And I have a team of 7, and I didn't want to lead them to what I thought was coming. And if I'm wrong, then so be it. But if I'm right, I don't want to have stayed on and keep pushing that business when I realized that that wasn't the way. So I decided to make a switch. Business brokering and exit strategy and business strategy and scaling, to me, is just something that's second nature. Again, you're right. I have scaled several businesses. I have sold one. I've been an entrepreneur for 16 years. I speak the language, and it just fits perfectly with what I know in my knowledge base and everything that I've studied and read over the last 16 years as well.
Well, I love it, and I always love this line that I learned a long time ago because I too was in had insurance as part of my practice as a financial planner years ago. But it's so funny if you ever want to kill a conversation, tell them you sell insurance, and
Hmm.
they'll leave the room immediately.
Pretty much.
So yeah, I'm so glad you switched because I think that there are so many hackers and part-timers and people out there selling insurance that it gives that industry a really negative name to it, and there's so much that is needed in our space where growth and planning and structuring the company in a right way is so incredibly important that sadly enough, many business owners don't focus on because they're too busy putting out fires and chasing customers that they don't think about that long-term impact of a few little tweaks to their company could really improve the value and, you know, thinking again when business owners are planning, they don't plan early enough to sell their company and they usually don't get as much as they could have had they have done some of your ideas.
Yeah, I mean, to your comment with the insurance industry, I mean, it's very difficult to be part of an industry that you're so dependent on the insurance industry, that you're so dependent on the government, that you're so dependent, whatever that may be, things can change like that. And it becomes very volatile.
Mm,
And going back to the actual potential selling of your business, the first thing that a buyer looks at is risk. And if they
exactly.
think that your business, well, if your industry is a risk, it's going to be very difficult to sell. And then we can now go to the business side where if there's any high risks in your business, it just makes it much more difficult to sell. One of the first things that we do when we look at a business is we start by de-risking. That's usually the first thing that we do. So we try
Mm.
to minimize risk. So, what are the systems and processes are they actually put in place so that if the am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, sure.
If the shit hits the fan, like, is there a system in place that could actually get you out of it? And which is also the reason why you have to have good employees, because if a key person gets let go or, oh, God forbid, dies, needs to be able to, you should have somebody else that you could put in that role right off the bat to go ahead and keep that thing going. So, risk is something very important. And I agree with you. I mean, I just think that I would not be where I am today, not only in my success, but just in my knowledge base, if it wasn't for learning how to do this. Like, it's not so
Yes.
much of the experience, that's also one thing. But I've had to read a lot of books. I've paid for a lot of coaching. I've taken a lot of courses to get to the knowledge base where I'm at today. And like you said, the electrician that has the idea to start an electrician company knows a lot about electrician stuff. And once you start actually running the business, you realize usually within about a year that holy crap, there's more to this. I can't do every job, and I love when
Exactly.
people say when somebody says, "Oh, I'm overwhelmed," and that person who doesn't know likes to say, "Oh, well, you should be lucky you've got work," and it's like, yeah, but this is not fun either. I might as well just go work for another electrician, and if I'm just going to be having a job, you need to really properly learn how to. I guess it's back away from your company and actually run the company. It makes your life a lot easier. It makes business ownership much easier. It makes entrepreneurship much more enjoyable because I've been there. Like,
And
I've been there.
it makes it very attractive to the potential buyer,
Hmm.
knowing that your company is run well
Hmm.
and that they're not buying your headache, they're buying your profit center, right? And I think that's the really important things. And it's very simple on paper. Could be a little challenging to execute, but like you mentioned, de-risking, right? Making sure that your business is actually gonna be open tomorrow and you've got a stream of clients coming in and your employees know where everything is and have relationships, right? And you've got no crazy skeletons in the closet. I mean, there's probably a dozen different risks that could attack your company that you can control. There are those that you can't control, right? Like taxes or industry situations, or like these crazy tariffs that are going on. Those are things that are out of our control. But there are many things that you can control and you should control.
Absolutely. I mean, 1,000%. You know, I was just on my podcast, I was talking to, I had a guest, it was a business broker, and he was telling me about a situation where the easiest way during a brokering of a deal to de-risk it is really being very upfront with anything and everything that's going on within the business. So, for example, we
In
had a
the
business.
industry.
Yes. So we had a business not too long ago on the closing table, Marcia, at the closing table. They found out that a handful of the employees were unfortunately illegal immigrants. So like it was a deal breaker because
Mm.
these were actually very important employees to actually getting the job done. And it ended up just completely busting the deal. Whereas if the business owner or seller would have disclosed this information from the beginning, then the buyer could have just either as a broker, I could have presented it in a way that says, hey, here's the advice, here's the situation, here's how you could proceed with this. Or even the buyer can now be like, okay, I still like the business. Now that I know this, I know that I have to do that in order to get that solved. But if you do it at the closing table, it's like,
It's
okay,
too late.
now what else is there that I don't know about that you haven't told me about, you know? So just being
Exactly.
upfront and honest. And I think being successful in business, I've learned over the years, believe it or not, when people say, oh, that's just a businessman, oh, he's a businessman, you know, we can't trust that person, you know, and it's just like, I think if you're going to be successful in business, you have to be able and willing to help others and really
Mm.
just be open and honest. And that's the most successful business people that I know.
I love it. I love it. Now, here's the great thing about all of these conversations that we're going to talk about on today's show is that they don't just represent when you're selling your business, they also make your business really nice to own, where you might go, wow, I might keep it a little bit longer, you know? Hey, really, my kids might really want this business now, which is almost unheard of in today's time and age. But I mean, having that strength in the company itself gives you more 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 freedom that we signed up for. It gives you what more income that we want for, right? Less stress, something that's really, running well. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we all strive for, but we get into these nasty habits of, doing things we shouldn't be doing or letting the leak go for that much longer or not telling people about the illegal aliens that we have hired. Why not do something really good with that and try and get them citizens, have them
Mm-hmm.
become citizens? What a benefit to their family and the community and your business to help
I,
them.
I think being a successful business owner, I think you're not even when you become the business owner and you just make that first hire, I think you are no longer the thing that you do. So again, we'll go back to the electrician. Like you're no longer an electrician, like you're in the people business now.
Mm,
Once you start having people that work under you, number one, you're going to obviously be the one that's going to network and build big relationships to increase revenue and so on and so forth. But now you become a leader, and it's your job to really empower those around you. It's not just telling them what to do, because if you keep telling them what to do, they're going to keep coming to you to ask you, and you really haven't done anything. I learned
exactly.
over just the past couple of years, too, by the way, that by actually instilling leadership principles that I learned over the years into my actual employees, it empowers them to actually make decisions, and it really just makes the whole thing flow. Like I just told them, so two things that I have actually incorporated to my employees is number one is they are each allowed they're allowed $50 a month that they could spend on any kind of continuing education, like
Nice.
any kind of courses, any kind of whatever. They each get $50 a month to do that. The next thing that I did, actually just recently, was I actually allowed every single employee $50 decision making. So they are allowed to make a decision up to $50, whatever that is. It could be even a per month thing. Like it could be like a per month subscription or whatever it is. If they feel, I trust them so much that they're going to not only negotiate to try to find the right price, but I just trust that they're going to make the best decision possible. That anywhere up to $50 a month, whether it's a subscription that we think is a good idea, they can make the decision and they can go ahead and use the money. They just have to go to my assistant to go ahead and do it. The leaders in my team, they have up to $100 where they can literally make any decision every single month up to $100, and it doesn't matter. And the more we grow, the more I'm going to grow that limit of, like, it'll be 1,000, then it'll be maybe, $10,000, whatever it is, however often, however big we grow. But it does more than just take that off of your plate. It truly empowers your employees to really know that I've got the confidence in them to make the right decisions for the company. And I mean, Marcia, I've got all A players on my team. It's so much fun, and we have a blast. Everybody has so much fun.
And that makes them be able to work on their own, right?
Mhm.
And make decisions that maybe you wouldn't have stepped into, but in hindsight, you're like, wow, this is great. And it also keeps they start thinking like business owners in the
Mhm.
business, which is very helpful when you're running your business. And it's also very helpful to the buyer coming in that they've got active employees you've got all key employees instead of just one, right?
Mhm.
Because they're all active and participating in growing the company with you, which I
Yeah, I
love
think.
that. I love that methodology,
If
right?
you have a management company, there should definitely be some kind of management compensation program going on that's based on KPIs and things that you hit and profitability and stuff like that, because that really keeps them engaged. That really makes them feel like part owners. And then, yeah, absolutely. Like, number one, if you're going to sell your business, like if you're even thinking about that, you need to let your employees know immediately,
Mm.
because you want to empower them to help you actually do that. And then if you could actually convince them and let them know that this is also for everyone else, because let's say a private equity firm is coming in to buy this company, let me tell you, that's going to be great because they're going to probably 10x this company, and you're going to be making a lot more money throughout this entire process than you are even making now at the moment. And also feel rewarded because we've built this thing to a point where we're attracting millionaires to come actually buy our business, and you guys are the reason for it. So yeah,
Yeah,
feeling
that
making
that
them feel
profit
like owners.
sharing and revenue sharing ideas really brings on team players. Like you mentioned, you have a team of A players because you compensate and reward them appropriately for it, and then they start to think of that business as theirs, right? Because they're
Every
helping
quarter.
it grow and they're benefiting from the growth of it. And
Every quarter.
I had a guy that did ESOPs, employee stock option plans, on a few months back, and we talked about the benefit of the employees actually buying the company, right, through stock options and shares that they buy. They don't actually run the company, but they have that ownership in it. Huge benefits that come along with that idea. You don't have to create an ESOP in your company, but if you use that mentality in
Yeah.
your company, then it creates long-term, really good employees that help you push that boulder up the hill.
Besides the obvious tax benefits to
And
the
yes, that
owner,
too, right?
but there's also legacy benefits. Now your legacy, if legacy is something that means a lot to you because you've been building this sucker for 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
It's your ugly baby.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully it's not an ugly baby after we're done with them. Yeah, it keeps the legacy alive because it keeps the culture alive. Because
Mm.
if you keep the culture alive, that means you're keeping the team alive, and that can go on for God knows how long. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing. That ESOP stuff and the family stuff is really cool too.
I love it. So someone told me, and he was a business broker, that company culture has a significant are your podcast guest appearances leading to real business, or are you just hoping that listeners will take action? With the Profit Booster Podcast Monetization Hub, we turn your interviews into lead generating machines so that you capture, nurture, and convert listeners into paying clients. So stop leaving money on the table and get started today at profitboosterpod.com. Value in the company. It was not that it actually related to the dollars, but it was the pushing point and the moving point in closing the deal that thought, this culture here at the company is really valuable to the price that they're willing to pay.
So that's something what we call an intangible capital. So you've
That
got
was the
your
word.
your tangible capital is just a profit. Your intangible capital are the intangible things in your business that actually are 80% of the value of your company. And it actually determines the multiple of your company. So if your
Nice.
EBITDA is, say, $1 million, if you have terrible culture, terrible this, terrible that, you're going to have zero multiple. So you're lucky if you could sell it for $1 million. But if you have great culture, great customers, great systems and processes, now that $1 million could actually be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10x depending on how good that is. So yes, absolutely. We call that human capital. And that's basically your employees and the culture and the leadership and everything that goes along with it to make sure that it is actually transferable so that if Marcia is buying my company, she's not only taking on profit, right, which is a great company, she's now paying herself a nice new salary, but she's also stepping into an amazing culture that's going to drive the entire ship forward so that Marcia is not buying a job. She's just buying a company that she's going to run.
I love it. And I'm so glad you validated that because I agree. There's so many more levers that you can pull in your company to make your company great now and to be that money train later on. So let's talk about that money train a little bit here. I know from experience that many business owners aren't thinking about that until they've kind of got one foot out the door. And by then, it's often too late to make any of the significant shifts. How do you convince, besides doing a podcast like this, business owners to start thinking about their exit early on, like day one, in my mind? Well, how do you get them to think about that? Because they're only thinking about, oh, day-to-day growth. I need this, I need that, rather than my future. But when they used to sit at my planning table and I was financially planning for them, they said, oh, we're going to sell this company and it's a large portion of our retirement plan. Okay. How are
It's
we
definitely
planning to get out of this? And what are we going to get? And they really failed at that.
It's definitely a paradigm shift that has to happen. I mean, we have to start there. It doesn't take, it's not overnight. It's a mindset shift. And basically that mindset shift is value over revenue. So that's what I
Value
call
over
it.
what?
Value over revenue. So you want to think of value first before revenue. Now, when you're starting out, I get it. Like you're just trying to make money, obviously, right? But once you start getting rolling and stuff like that, you should, even then though, you should still think I'm launching a company just now and I'm putting value first. And I've already making sure that everything that I do, like let's say you start a company, you're a one person shop and you're doing everything right off the bat, you should already be building your systems and processes. If you have a way of doing things, we have the luxury of AI and what my favorite thing is Loom, that you could literally screen record everything that you do. I know people that screen record their entire day. I literally had another person on my podcast as well. He runs a VA company and he has everybody Loom the whole day. Every
Wow.
day. I thought it was a
Wow.
little excessive, but he has a reason for it and it works. So when you're building a company from scratch, and if you want to build it with value first, I believe the easiest way to do that is just by systemize everything that you do. Like you can
And
do
yep,
that
and
from
there's
the
easy ways of doing that. Scribe. I just used Scribe yesterday to do a task that I did that I'm giving to my VA. And I was like, why wasn't I doing that before?
right. I mean, I think it's also you have to understand that every single part of your day could actually be systemized. So like I think we talked about this is when you wake up in the morning, most or whatever, let's say whatever your system is you wake up, you go to the bathroom, you brush your teeth, you wash your hair, you put your clothes on, you go eat breakfast, you get in your car, you drive to work. Like that's its own system. You could put a step-by-step process and implement somebody to actually do that for
Do
you so
that
that you
for
could
you.
sleep in. So, like when you open your computer and you log into your email and you look at your calendar and you check the first email and you put this email into there and you put that email into there and you delete that email here, like you could record yourself doing it. And then within a couple of weeks, again, thanks to technology, you can go on Upwork.com. You could find a VA from $5 to $10 an hour to basically now take all the videos that you've put together for the past week or two, say, hey, here's all the training, how I check my emails. Hey, here's my calendar and how I like to book all my stuff, which I didn't know that I did, but apparently that's the way I always do it. Could you please make sure that you watch these videos? And this is how I want you to take care of my schedule and my email. And now, within 2 weeks of starting a company, you've literally just offloaded probably two of the most time-sucking things, which is your
Mm,
email and your calendar.
brilliant. Brilliant.
And you're building
And
systems and processes.
and that's what you're doing is you're building these operational systems that are duplicatable. And when the money starts rolling in and you maximize your time properly, right? You no longer become the bottleneck and you can push things off to your team to do the repetitive things that don't require the CEO hat on, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think that to me is super attractive for A, your current lifestyle, right? Because you're not the bottleneck and stopping everything up. But B, for that future buyer coming in, they're going to go, oh, yeah, Like I said earlier, I'm not going to buy their headache. I know that I only have to do the parts that I'm only required to do, right? And not everybody else's job.
I'll tell you what my day is today. It was a 30-minute meeting with my admin. I'm very sales focused right now. So I have 2 hours for sales. My lunch is in there. I did another hour of sales. I recorded one of my podcasts, and now I'm here with you. That was
Brilliant.
my day. There's nothing administrative with that day except my quick check-in with my admin, which I told her all the things that I needed to do. So
Right.
what happens there is, again, I've got 3 people on my marketing team, which, by the way, I put them in charge of hiring more people.
Ooh, good.
And they're now looking for helpers for them. And I told them, remember, you $50, right? So like you could make a decision if whatever it is that they want to charge. And Marcia, like it's amazing because they're coming to me in one of our I don't like to be in all the weekly meetings, but I'll jump in every once in a while and they're just like, well, she was telling me that she wanted this much, but I thought that was too much, so I told her to do it for this much. And like they're doing all of that for me that I used, and they're doing whatever they can to save technically me money, right? They build all the systems and processes now. Every quarter, the only thing that I ask is every quarter, all of the systems and processes, the SOPs, get looked at and updated according to how they may have changed over the last quarter. That's something new that I implemented because what happens with a lot of SOPs, you do them and you forget them. So
That's
we
it.
have
They
a
become it. They become that nice plaque or that nice
yeah.
book in the drawer, right?
Yeah, so we have a whole like an Excel spreadsheet of every single system and process, which is basically our organizational. My SOP for my executive assistant Marcia, guess how many pages it is?
I'm scared.
It's over 40 pages.
Wow.
It includes all of the work and it includes the calendar, it includes my personal life, it includes my travel, my flight, where I like to sit, how my calendar needs to be set up, how the blocks are. There are template emails that you need to respond to stuff. There's a way that my calendar invites have to look. Like I'm pretty obsessive with all that stuff, but they love
Love
it.
it.
They
Love
do.
it.
They like it. It's like, okay, I don't make any mistakes now.
That's it. You're giving them clear guidance and expectations of what you want them to do so that they do it. And then if you give it to them to the letter, then there's no variation. But then you gave them a $50, waiver to go left or right on, and start to make decisions to improve your process for you. So
Yeah.
so
And what
good.
and then
So good.
what it does for me, it's like, I was listening to a podcast yesterday and they were like, take your work, take your business life, take this, take that, put it all into a blender. What would you rate your life on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being like Dalai Lama and 1 being like you hate your life. And I was like thinking about it, I'm just like, I'm a 10. Like
Wow.
and it took me a while to get there, right? Like there's a lot of learning that took place, but then there was a lot of limiting beliefs that had to be broken as well.
Mm.
Like I don't depending on who's listening, right? You've got people who think that scaling your business is not good, or I'm scared because it's going to take up more of my responsibility and it's going to take up my time, which I want to spend with my family. Or becoming rich. What if I think that rich people are evil and they're all like kind of scumbags and this and that? Like, if you have those beliefs, then why would you ever accomplish those things?
Exactly.
Because your subconscious is just going to tell you, like, wait, no, rich people are bad. We don't want to be rich. No, scaling the company is just going to be more responsibility. If you could break
Well,
those
when we
limiting
talk about
beliefs,
scale, we're not talking about Amazon domination. We're talking about consistently seeing positive numbers in your business. And when you hit that certain, I believe scale and growth is a Christmas tree, right? You grow and then you have to scale to support the growth. Grow and you
mm,
scale to
I
support the
like that.
growth, right? So I mean, it's a natural thing. And if you're not doing it, you're actually going backwards
Hey,
because inflation, competition, I can go on with a list. But yeah, you have to continuously do that. So it boggles my mind. I always say this, and forgive me, world. I know it sounds
say
really
it,
snotty,
say it.
but what are you doing in business if you've got these limiting beliefs, right?
Mhm. Well, we all have them.
Well, we all have them to some point, but we're able to work through them. And if you've got these, I mean, business could be really hard or it could be really easy. And I think there's a lot of in-betweens, but it takes some it in order to be a successful business owner, I think you have to have a business owner mindset, which says, I'm going to push the envelope on a lot of things. I'm going to reduce my risk and be smart here. I'm going to continuously educate myself, but I'm going to go for things that the normal person, and I use that term loosely, the normal person would stay in corporate and say, oh, I'm going to stay safe with this paycheck.
I think it takes time. It takes getting run through the mud. But you mentioned the thing about Amazon that you're not talking about Amazon. Hey, Marcia, if Jeff Bezos can do it, why can't you?
Well, yeah, but I mean, what people think all the time when you talk about scaling that you're gonna, you need to be this monster. No, it's just every year being bigger and better than you were before.
I believe you can be the monster and still live the life of your dreams. And what I have seen is that when people become rich, their true self comes out.
Ah,
If you are a good person and you're a caring person and you're a family first person and you want to help others, you're going to be that way whether you're worth $100 million or $100. So it's okay. And the nicest people that I have met are filthy rich
I
because
love
they
it.
they got there by giving to others, helping others, and doing what they can to support others. And that was a
Mm.
mindset that I had that mindset for a while, Marcia. I'm not gonna lie. You could ask my wife. I'll never forget. We were going to a conference, and that was my mindset. And she's like, "Why do you have that mindset?" This was years ago, but I had to break that mindset as well. And the scaling mindset, I had that for a while. I was
Mm.
terrified. I was like, I like a simple life. I don't want that responsibility. More money, more problems. More employees,
Yeah,
more problems. But if you do it right, which again, I do believe it takes time. You break the limiting belief
sure.
and you learn and learn and learn. And yes, probably get run through the mud a couple of times. I almost went bankrupt. I was 2 weeks away from bankruptcy. So it took that to really just be like, you know what? All these fears that I've had, and I also used to have a fear, by the way, that which stopped me from scaling of giving too much to my employees. Like I didn't want to give
Oh,
them too much information. I didn't want to teach them too much because I was worried that they would learn too much and go away and go to another job. I literally teach my team things that would help them scale their own business. And if they were, I have my executive assistant works like an animal for me. She's got a little
mm.
side hustle and I help her all the time with it.
Love it.
Hmm.
Love it. And I think for me too, I believe, when I'm working with my clients, I over deliver and I over give and share ideas. And I'm working with my friends and, oh, hey, how about this? Have you thought of that? Right? It's just my nature to do that. But in checking in on that, that's actually me wanting to help other people be better, right?
Hmm.
And I think it's a good philosophy to have, and it's a good value to have in your company as well, because when the water rises, all boats lift up. It only benefits everybody. And if you're afraid that someone's going to learn too much and leave, well, then wouldn't they say thank you on the way back out? And
They're
aren't you
going to be
creating
so
another
eternally
business and
great.
community? I mean,
They're going to be so eternally grateful if that opportunity that they have, and they will point to you as the reason why they have now been able to take their life to an even another better level from everything that they learned from you. And I'm telling you, that's going to be more rewarding than you holding it back and trying to keep them the whole time, because then they're going to leave just because you're not giving them everything that you got.
good stuff. Well, this was really a great conversation. I love the intrinsic value conversation that we really had here, talking about the great things that create a great business now that you're living in, you're enjoying, your employees enjoy, everything else that also have, as you mentioned, 80% of that value that your company has when you're looking at company A and company B. Somebody told me the important factor is that as a seller, you usually have to sell your business for one reason or another. Could be health, retirement, age, money, whatever it is, you have to sell. The buyer never has to buy. They want to buy. And if you make that business something that they want, then they're going to be more apt to make the deal easier, smoother, pay you a little bit more money or the money that you wanted for it. And it's all just and I believe that it's all due to the intrinsic value of the company you have. I mean, basically after the foundations are there, you're profitable and, you got an audience and that kind of stuff, but really good
Absolutely.
conversation.
1,000%. I agree with all of that.
Love it. Okay. So Vince, where can people find out more about you and the way you do things and your teachings? Because I know you're very vocal about it.
I'm pretty easy to find. VincePerri.com. I have a YouTube channel that's Vince Perri Official. Instagram is Vince Perri Official. Facebook is Vince Perri. So, you can type in my name pretty much everywhere and you'll find me. There's a lot of good resources that we have. We got a pretty nice guide and roadmap, and basically it's pretty much almost a book. You even told me, you're like, yeah, that's a book. It's a value clarity roadmap that really, honestly, you don't even have to hire me. You want to self-implement, you take that free roadmap and it will tell you step by step everything that you need to do to not only scale your business for maximum value, but also prepare your personal life and your finances, your personal finances and your business so that you could scale correctly. Because people don't think about life after exit. People don't think about how much money they actually need when they actually sell their business. A lot of people, Marcia, take a pay cut and they don't even know it because they didn't do the math correctly. Where I was making $1 million a year, I just sold my business for, I don't know, 5 million or 10 million. That's not going to be that's not going to take me very far after retirement. So making sure you have all that stuff in order, or at least you're thinking about it. What are you going to do after exit? Do you have a financial advisor? Do you have a wealth goal? And then really breaking down how you actually determine the value of your business and how you could increase that value over time.
Wow. And where can they find that?
VincePerri.com or on my YouTube page or anywhere where it says Vince Perri with an I.
You made it so easy to find you. I love it. I love it.
But but also, honestly, we'll leave it. Well, we're sending it to you. Just put it in the show notes or the description or whatever so that people can get it. Yeah, that'd be great. But honestly, another easy way is just send me a message on Instagram. If they tell me that you're from your show, I'll go ahead and send it right then and there.
Great, great. And it is, I think it's so important that we are well-rounded, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us business owners go through life and keep, cut our own pay to invest back into the business. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that, right? And we forget that we are we should have a life outside of business and we have responsibilities and what happens afterwards. So I love it that it's that cohesive, comprehensive look at your life and how to make sure that your business is a great source for everything else that you want to do in life. So I think it's fantastic.
Absolutely. I say holistic.
Holistic. That's a good word for it. Awesome. All right, listeners, thanks for tuning in today. I hope you picked up some valuable insights and actionable ideas that will help you make your business more profitable. And remember, if you're tired of overpriced marketing that's complicated and time-consuming, well, then the Profit Booster Marketing Hub is your low-cost, easy-to-use alternative to expensive strategies, complete with automations, templates, and a personalized strategy call. Go get details at profitbooster.biz. And don't forget to subscribe. You don't want to miss future shows. You can always find Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast players. We're looking forward to more great profitable information on next week's show. So until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thank you so much, Vince. This was really valuable.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Marcia. I really appreciate it.